Good morning. This lesson is an introduction to what's called CAD modeling. CAD is an abbreviation for computer-aided design. This video will overview what Fusion 360 is and what your first task will be. And in fact, I'll model at the end of this lesson what you're going to be doing. Because I went and did it first to see if it would work. This activity is developed from Activity 1.2.2 in the PLTW curriculum, although we are modifying it. One of the modifications is that we're starting it in the middle of our Funfair project because the next step in your Funfair project is for you to actually build and test your prototype, which we can't do virtually, and so we'll be doing that tomorrow in class when we meet face-to-face. So what is a 3D modeling software? A 3D model is a computer representation used to convey detailed information about a physical object. This activity will guide you to use software to create 3D models. You can build 3D models using any 3D modeling software app, often referred to as computer-aided design software. Last year, for this particular class, we used what's called Autodesk Inventor. And so all of my IED students last year began on it like a totally different program. And in fact, you guys have a huge advantage over them because we need special laptops in order to run this software, and we didn't get those laptops last year until January. And so my students last year did not even begin to do the computer component of this course until about halfway through the year, and it was still pretty cool what they were able to do with it. You will be able to start as early as next week getting into this program and starting to design things. In this class, we will be using Fusion 360. There's a couple of videos in the PLTW curriculum about what Fusion 360 is, and I thought about using those videos. The videos actually come from the Fusion 360 Autodesk website, and I didn't particularly like them. I thought they were geared more for adults and businesses, more than for students who are just kind of exploring engineering for the first time and will be getting their feet wet for the first time. If you'd like to see those videos, again, go to Activity 1.2.2 in the PLTW curriculum, and you can watch them. They're pretty short. I think one is about 58 seconds and the other one is about 5 minutes long. Fusion 360 is cloud-based. Is cloud-based modeling software, meaning that your designs will be stored in the cloud, which is really nice. So it allows you to share designs with me and with teammates on specific projects. So instead of me going to everybody's individual computer to check their designs, check the measurements, or having to have students email me the designs, which they did last year, we can actually all access them together on the cloud. This will dramatically strengthen your geometry skills and your 3D spatial reasoning. So if you have already taken geometry, this will be a good review. I know this class has the span of math classes from Algebra 1 all the way to calculus. And so for some of you, you haven't even taken a course in geometry yet. For others of you, it was several years ago that you took a class in geometry. So regardless, this will be a benefit to you. If you've yet to take geometry, I can pretty much guarantee you that geometry will go better for you for having done this kind of work first. If you're in geometry now, this will supplement what you're doing in your math class. And if you've already had geometry, this will be a great review and a chance for you to engage geometry in a way that's very different from how you engaged it in your geometry class. Hopefully, this will lead to industry certification in Fusion 360. So I do have a question mark there. In a CTE class like this one, you often have the opportunity to go for what's called an industry certification. This is a recognized certificate. It's not just like for students or anything. Adults get these certificates to put on their resumes, to be appealing to employers. And the industry certification that goes with the engineering program is Fusion 360. Last year, we did not offer the certification because one of the requirements is that I get my certification in it first, and fresh out of my own training last year, I did not have the certification. Then they switched the program. So I mentioned that last year we used Inventor, and then even if I had gotten my certification, I would have had to turn around and get another one. So, but I did get my Fusion 360 certificate back in June. So I have my certification in this. I've never actually guided students through that process before, so that will be new to me. But if we can go there and get you guys at least the opportunity to go for your industry start, that's a huge advantage to the school and huge advantage to you, because this is a difficult certification to get. We will begin using the program in class, but the hope is that you will be able to use the cloud-based nature of the program to work on the designs at home. This is the first year using Fusion 360, and so there's a lot I need to learn myself about how the cloud-based features work. With Inventor, my students would work in class, and that's the only time or place they could work on it, because the only place where Inventor was even available to them was on the student engineering laptops. And so if they were absent from school, if they fell behind, the only way that they could make up that work, it would be to stay after school. That was the only time they could do it. Where Fusion 360 is cloud-based, I think there's the potential that you can download like an app or a program at home and access the features from home, but I'm not 100% sure of that, and so we will figure that out. It's new for everybody in the country who's offering Introduction to Engineering Design, and so I know that there's a lot that we will be feeling out. I'll be collaborating with the other engineering teachers in Duval County for that. This is what my certification looks like. I realized that my address was on there, so I blurted it out. But ideally, this is what you would like to get sometime towards the end of the year when you've been able to work in Fusion 360 for several months and develop some skills. The certification is Autodesk Certified User in Fusion 360, and I was kind of surprised I got it back in June because I hadn't had that much experience with the program, but I made it, so I'm not going to turn it down. Okay, storing designs in Fusion 360. The first part of this lesson isn't even about like starting designs. Like before we begin with any designs, we need to establish how they will be saved within Fusion 360. We do not want lots of files that are just titled sketch, because then we will not be able to locate what we need when we need it. And if I'm looking in your files for something that I'm supposed to grade and you have everything titled sketch, then I have to click through all of your sketches to find the one that I want to grade, and I'm not going to do that. You're going to title them in a way that I and you will be able to locate those files later. A few basics. All of your saved files must contain your last name. So like my last name is Taylor. All of your save files must contain the name of the object that you're designing, and that could be a component for like hopefully we'll get to the automata projects, but like for this first one we might just call it block, and we'll all agree like this is the block design. And all of your save files must be organized by unit, lesson, or project name. I will try to guide you with that, you know, the reminder that this is the first time I'm working through this curriculum in this way. And so what I'm picturing in my head is that when we're in like Unit 1, Lesson 2, that you'll have a file that's like Unit 1, Lesson 2, or if it's a design for a particular project that might go through different units, you'd have a folder for that project, and you will store everything related to that project in that folder. So for example, create a folder for Unit 1, Lesson 2, and save the file as Taylor Block Design. Something like that. I will give you more specific guidance about that as we get to specific designs and specific things that I want you to save. There was some stuff that I was looking up about you know, creating projects, and I created a team on my IED, like my Fusion 360 account, and I'd like you to join my team. It's just, I think it's Atlantic Coast IED. I don't even know how to tell you to do that, so it's gonna be fun. So what does the design process look like? To give you an idea of what the design process looks like, I did a quick design of one of the blocks from our isometric sketching activity. And I don't know if you guys remember me doing this, but we did the isometric sketches on a virtual day, and you guys took home your blocks and you did the isometric sketches, and then you emailed your sketches or uploaded them. I don't remember which one I had you do, but your sketches on your isometric graph paper. And we had some people that were present in class virtually that day that were not present in class physically the day before, and so they didn't have any blocks because they weren't here to pick up any blocks. And so I did this. I went over to the table in my room and I made a little object and I gave some measurements here. So I didn't have all of the dimensions. I actually pulled this from our team. If you go into the IED team and you click on classroom resources, this is like posted there. So I didn't have all of the dimensions available from the photo to get the measurements exact. But I did what I could in the little video. So I tried to make the dimensions shown like 3 inches, 1.5 inches, 2 inches, like whatever it appeared to be from this. But I didn't take all the measurements the day that we did this. So I didn't measure the exact location of like where those holes are. So like exactly like how far is that hole from the edge? Like I didn't measure that, so I don't actually know. And the same with this one here, exactly how far that should be from the edge. But I did what I could and I dimensioned what I could. The computer that I recorded it on has no sound. It's my engineering laptop, which does not have a camera and doesn't have any sound. So I couldn't explain in the video what I was doing while I was doing it, which can make them a little confusing to watch. But I will narrate what I'm doing at each step. So as you're watching, you can see. Screencastify limits me to 5-minute videos, and so I was a little bit rushed, and I do move through it fairly quickly. So we might go through the videos more than once, and I might pause them along the way so you can see like what I'm doing geometrically. And you'll notice that I made some mistakes during the process. I was working really fast and I had to go back and fix them. One of the mistakes was I was dimensioning everything in inches, but whatever the default settings that I have on Fusion right now are in millimeters. And so if I forgot to type in inches, then it defaulted to millimeters. And we ended up with really tiny things. And I had to go back and fix them and put the inches in. There was also one time I think I added an extra 0 and I meant to do 0.75 and I had 0.075 and it was obviously too small. So, and you know, I kept them in there. I could have just gone back and re-recorded, but I did keep them in there just to emphasize that it's okay to go back and fix stuff. It's part of the design process. I make mistakes, you're gonna make mistakes, and it absolutely can be really, really frustrating, but it's part of the process and part of maturing as a designer, maturing as a student, as a person, is learning how to deal with those setbacks maturely and just and move forward. So this is what the final thing is. So this was the photograph of the physical object. And then what I did was a quick little screen capture of my final design in Fusion 360. And I could have color coded those blocks. I thought of that after the fact. I could have made the colors match, and I didn't even think to do it. But and you can tell it's pretty close. I didn't have all those dimensions again to make sure that all the holes were exactly located in the right spot, but it's not bad. It took me a total of about 6 or 7 minutes to do it. I think both videos are between 2 and 3 minutes long, so probably like less than 6 minutes total for me to create that design. And your first assignment in Fusion 360 is going to be to do a CAD sketch of your isometric sketch. So if you still have, well, you should still have it because you submitted it digitally. So even if you've lost the hard copy, we still have the digital copy that you submitted through email. So you can check your email, or we can go look at Focus, wherever we uploaded those. And so you will be making something like this based off of your sketch that you did earlier. And then these are the 2 videos. I will have to click on those separately because I can't click on them during the PowerPoint video. And then what's next for you? So we'll cover this. I'll probably remind you of this at the end of the lesson before I let you guys go from the meeting. But we do need to finish our fun fair projects first. And your homework for tonight is to be prepared to build and test your prototype in class tomorrow. So I know this is a little bit off. We have to kind of go ahead and then we go back because we're working with hybrid. Know if you need extra materials, who is bringing them, and be ready to hit the ground running tomorrow. So you come into class tomorrow and pretty much we've got 4 groups. I'll designate an area of the room for each of the 4 groups for you to build and test your beanbag funfair game prototype, but you only have the one class period to get it built and get it tested. So you need to know what you're doing. If you need to hop into your small group, your virtual small group at the end of this presentation and touch base with your teammates so that you're all on the same page for tomorrow, then we can do that. I can start a meeting for you. The final design proposals will be due digitally by the end of class on Friday. So Friday is our last virtual day for IED, and you will be submitting the final part of that project. And then beginning Monday, when we're on campus 5 days a week, we will start working with Fusion 360. So I have a lot of conflicting feelings about ending hybrid, but this is the class where seeing you guys 5 days a week will be very helpful. So we won't be doing this like juggling with what can we do virtually, what do we need to be on campus to do. And we're going to learn how to do orthographic multi-view sketches by hand and using Fusion 360. That sounds complicated, but it's not at all. So next thing up is to watch that design process in Fusion 360. And I hope you can get excited about what we're about to do.